Hello, fellow dog people, and welcome to another episode of the Rocker Dog Podcast, the show that talks to musicians about their dogs and how these beautiful creatures enrich our souls. I'm your host, Tim Dill. My ever-present soul dog is Charlie, and together we're both grateful to bring you our conversation with Victoria Asher, the guitarist for Cobra Starship, who will be playing the Warped Tour in Long Beach later this month and Riotfest in September. And these are her eclectic mix of rescued rocker dogs.
Well, we have a selection of ones to choose from. We have Rocko, Dottie, Teddy, and Ren.
Okay, let's start to get a little bit more information on those four. And I know I've got two more in my notes. I've got Gizmo and Louie.
Those are the loves of my life who unfortunately have
Okay,
passed already.
well, we'll give them their due, and I'm sure there's a few more as we go down the line in your
Yeah.
history. But first and foremost, your four current rescues. I mean, who should we start on? Who comes to mind first?
Yeah, so the first one was Rocko, and I was told that he was expected to be around 10 pounds, and he is almost 50 pounds.
Okay.
So got more dog than expected, but he's fantastic and loved. And he came from this rescue Mutt Scouts, who in particular find dogs that are in Tijuana in very horrible situations. So he came from there.
Okay. Was the timing in particular to anything, or you just had the
My
space in
pre
your heart and your home at the time?
my previous dog, Gizmo and Louie, had passed away, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna not have dogs for a bit and just have the freedom of not having dogs. And I was very heartbroken, obviously, and kind of thought like, oh, no one can replace them. But my house was so sad without the sound of dogs and without the energy of dogs. And I finally just kind of opened up to the idea of meeting another dog and that it wasn't disrespecting Gizmo or Louie.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. And I have, again, all my research just goes to social media. But going
Yeah.
back to 2019, there's a cast on his arm.
Yes.
What was that all about?
So my ex-boyfriend, he had these shoes that had like a kind of extended rubber part of the shoe, and it was awful. It like he stood up basically, and it got stuck on my bar stools, and the bar stool fell over onto Rocco's paw,
Oh,
and it was like, I mean, because my ex was so madly and like he's such a dog freak, and Rocco was like his baby, so it was horrifying for him because we had immediately rushed him to the doctor. And, he felt horrible about it. And he had a fractured foot. So poor little guy had to have a cast on his arm. So sad, but also he looked so cute with this little cast.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Okay, so who comes next?
Then it was Dottie. My ex definitely had a responsibility for us getting Dottie because he had always wanted a Brussels Griffon, and I became totally in love with the breed as well. And so I kept just kind of looking for Brussels Griffins. And then there was this Brussels Griffin. I kept seeing her story on the same rescue that I got Rocco from, Mutt Scouts.
Hmm.
And her situation was just so horrible. I couldn't stand it. She had been pregnant and was found with newborn babies, and they were all tied with rope in a trash can in Tijuana. And she had no eyes. I don't know if she was born without eyes or if it was some horrible scenario, but I just kept seeing that they couldn't find a foster for her and it was killing me. And I was obsessed with her story and I had to lean in and I was like, oh, I'm just going to foster. But we totally fell in love with her and she's magical and the best thing ever.
I can imagine. I mean, I have so much sympathy for a dog like that. And to see on your social media her with the halo,
Yeah,
and it's funny that it's a Brussels because they have such distinctive eyes as
I
well.
know. I
But is
know.
she, I assume she's happy.
She is the
Is she
happiest
the happiest
dog
dog?
ever. Yeah, it's
I mean,
amazing. The thing that was crazy was that, and this is kind of why I knew I was doomed to not be a foster and to keep another dog because she like immediately came in the house and she was just so chill, made herself at home. She was not super traumatized. She
Yeah,
was very open and loving and amazing. Sadly, her puppies did not make it. The rescue tried to save the puppies, but I guess they had parvo really bad. Just
right. Yeah,
horrible. And th there was like a period of time where I couldn't get Dottie yet because she was kind of quarantined to make sure that she didn't have anything as well
right.
before she was around my other dog and stuff like that. But yeah,
Well, this question would be the accumulation of everything we talk about, but just on Dottie is like these dogs teach you so much
I
about
know.
resilience and forgiveness, and it's just crazy.
I know.
And what about Ren and Teddy?
Teddy was purely just because he was cute. He did not come from a traumatic situation particularly. I mean, his mother did. His mo like basically the rescue got this dog. She was pregnant with all these puppies, and they were trying to find fosters for the puppies. And so I took Teddy and one of his sisters, since they were like tiny, they were tiny little baby puppies. And I was like, I'm not keeping them, not like, of course, puppies are cute. They do it every time. They win you over every time. I'm not keeping another dog. And found a home for the sister. And there were people interested in the brother, Teddy, and I just couldn't part ways with him. He was too cute, even though he was the worst behaved puppy I've ever had in my life. Like he was a total terror. If he hadn't been so cute, he would not have stayed at my
Too
home.
funny.
But I fell in love with him.
And then Ren, from what I know, is 11-year-old senior Chihuahua.
Yeah.
It's got the tongue,
Yep.
three
So
wags and walks.
yep. Through wags and walks.
And
And
so, how recent are we talking with Ren?
just like a year ago, I guess. I think it's probably been exactly a year. Yeah, just I always wanted to adopt senior dogs, but I just always couldn't stand the thought of senior dogs like being alone at a shelter and stuff and wags and walks. I was following them and I kept seeing this senior citizen that was not being adopted and he was so cute and I took him and I was like, I'm not keeping this dog. And the first night I had him, I had to go to this art opening. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, I just got this dog that I'm suddenly fostering, and I have to go to this thing. And I took him with, and he was so chill and like just the most amazing dog with everyone there that I was like, okay, I'm probably keeping this dog.
Did you just travel with Ren to New York?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah. So I take him everywhere with me, which is amazing. And he's so good about traveling, and it's great. Yeah.
Now, I did touch upon, Louie and Gizmo.
Yeah.
Gizmo seemed to be a very special dog.
Yeah. I mean, I had him like he toured toured on the road with me. He lived on the tour bus. He had fans on the road. I mean, I remember like literally groups of fans yelling Gizmo's name outside the bus. Yeah, he was amazing. He was not a rescue. I was guilty of a pet shop purchase,
Mhm.
which is not what I was after. It was one of these things where I really like I was just dying for a dog. I really wanted to have a dog of my own. I was living in New York. I was studying film at NYU, and I really wanted a small dog while I was there. And I walked into this store and was just like considering little like pet beds and stuff like that, and they actually had dogs in the store. And I looked over and literally it was just like this cage and all the dogs are going insane except for Gizmo and he's just staring straight at me. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, can I just see that dog for a second? And the second I held him, he like looked at me and just swatted my nose with his paw. And I was like, game over. I don't care what this dog costs. This dog has to be my dog. And he was absolute love of my life. Yeah, he came on tour with me. He was a legend. And a lot of times, like when I would go internationally, I couldn't bring him with me, obviously. And my best friend Anna, she was like his second mom. And Gizmo was really amazing in that he had two different personalities of like when he was in New York, he was like full of attitude, New Yorker dog, like no one messes with him kind of thing. And then when he was in LA, he was like vacation mode. He was like super chill, just like really relaxed, like
That's too funny.
really funny. And that dog had 9 lives. There were several instances where that dog almost died.
Well, let's talk about them because I've got two rat poisoning
Yep.
instances, and then
Wow,
attack by a
you really
Great
got all your
Dane.
research done. That's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. But it's, I mean, that's stuff that's like when I talk to New York artists, it's usually like
Yeah.
walk that dog down the street. You know, how many times did it get a hypodermic needle in its mouth, or God
Yeah.
knows what in its mouth? But the rat poisoning, I mean, that's just a product of living in New York.
So it was insane. It was completely insane. I have it on video. I was doing a documentary on my friend's band, and while we're hanging out doing the interview, in the middle of the interview, I just like look over and I'm like, "What's that blue thing that Gizmo's playing with?" And then he just suddenly looks over and he goes, "Oh my God, it's rat poison." And I was like, "Oh, it's crazy. They're bright blue and look
Yeah.
like dog toys. Like they
Yep.
look like they're just like plastic dog toys." And so I immediately have to rush him to emergency. He has to have his stomach pumped, this whole thing. Then cut to ages later, same friend, my friend Will's. I mean, he still will talk about it to this day because he felt so horrible. I go and I spend the night at his place, and it was him and his girlfriend, now wife, Sarah. I had this friend coming in from the UK and all this stuff, and I go to his house, and it's New Year's Eve, and the whole plan was like we were going to all these parties, and then all of us were staying the night at their house. And when I get there, I go, Wills, there's no rat poison, right? And he's like, no, 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 absolutely not. There's no rat poison here. Like, don't even worry about it. Sure enough, Gizmo somehow finds rat poison in the house the landlord had on the property without telling them.
Okay.
And same thing, and I'm spending New Year's Eve at the animal hospital having his stomach pumped. It's insane. It's horrible. So yeah, that happened.
Well, tell me about this Great Dane attack.
Yeah.
This is in, I think, is this in LA on a beach walk?
Yep. Yeah.
Because that sounds traumatic. That sounds traumatic probably for you.
Oh, it was horrifying. It was the worst thing I've ever seen. So my mom and I, we were just walking with our dogs. My parents have dogs as well. They have four dogs as well. But yeah, we were just walking with our dogs, and out of nowhere, this Great Dane, which Great Danes are usually such great, gentle dogs, but
Yeah.
this Great Dane came running off of someone's property onto the beach, rushed up to Gizmo, grabbed Gizmo by the neck, started thrashing him back and forth, trying to break his neck. Dropped Gizmo, kind of threw Gizmo across the beach. So Gizmo then starts dragging the back of his legs and it's screaming. And it was crazy because in such an emergency moment, I actually just got like hyper focused and like picked up Gizmo and like he was, pooping, peeing himself. It was awful. He couldn't move his back legs. And I just have blood on me. And I just, again, was just like laser focused, went straight into the house. My mom, luckily, got to go to the owner and get his information and stuff and was like, what the hell are you doing? Whatever. And basically, this guy had just gotten this rescue dog and decides to just let it
Yeah.
go out on this private beach without knowing the dog's personality or anything, like without a lead, like insane.
Yeah.
And almost killed Gizmo and took him to the hospital. We luckily had a friend that worked at an animal hospital. And so we're calling her, she's setting up everything.
Wow.
That the second that we get there, we get the care that we need. And he had to go to like emergency surgery. And yeah,
Did he lose a kidney?
yep.
Wow, that's crazy. But he became fully functional with his
Yeah.
legs. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Well, I always find a bunch of quotes that I like to feed back to the people that I'm talking to, the artists I'm talking to. The ones I picked out for you was there's nothing more pure, loyal, loving, and wonderful than a companionship of a dog. They are magic and the loves of my life. And coming off of those quotes, I want to ask, when did this love and appreciation for dogs, take shape? Was this just a childhood thing that you grew into?
I immediately so I grew up with so many animals in our household. My parents, we had a potbelly pig, a bloodhound, a Labrador retriever, parrots. lizards. I had two pet rats. We had about five cats. And despite all this, we actually had like a really nice, like clean house, despite
Right.
how that sounds. It wasn't some hoarder situation. These animals were all so loved. But yeah, dogs especially. I just had amazing dogs always growing up. My parents always had dogs.
Okay. Well, I wind down the show with what I call the Zoomies, and that's just
Yep.
five fast, frivolous questions. The
Uh-huh.
first one is kind of testing if you're a germaphobe or not, but do you allow your dogs to lick your face?
Yes and no. I mean, they definitely get some licks in there, but I'm not big on it. I'm not like a, yeah, give me the, yeah, not big on it. I
Okay,
usually put my hand and I'm like, okay, just get it out of your system.
that's funny. Okay, it's funny because I've been thinking about trashing that question because I feel like everyone's answer's been yes. So I'm kind of glad to hear someone who's a little bit, well, I'm not,
No,
you know.
I'm like, we gotta have some boundaries. I understand that's your way of communicating. And so literally it's just for me, I just give them my hand and then they get that out of their system and they seem to be satisfied with it. So
Okay.
yeah.
Question two is, do any of them have a theme song?
Oh,
I don't know.
Gizmo had its own song though. I don't know if you ever if you saw that, if you came across any of that.
No, what was that?
Gizmo has his own song and a music video about him from God. I think I made it in like 2007 or something insane.
I'll have to go back and look.
Gizmo is a cute dog. Gizmo is a cute dog. He's got a lot of fur and he's got a tail.
I love it.
Has a music video, everything. It's ridiculous.
I love it. I gotta find it and I'll try to repost it.
Yeah.
Question three. So Gizmo's actually been on tour. This is usually hypothetical, but asking seriously, was there anything on the tour rider for Gizmo at the time?
No, actually there wasn't. I
Okay.
kind of just always like every city that we were in, I treated him to like I'd always get him like chicken breast and give him stuff like that. But no, surprisingly
Okay.
not.
Hypothetically, then, what would Gizmo want on a tour rider besides a breast of chicken?
Um, any kind of treats. Yeah, I think just any treats would have been a highlight.
Okay. Question four is, do you have a dog voice?
Yeah.
Is it cliche? Is it the high pitch, or
Um,
are you making
they
it?
all have their own different ones.
Oh, okay.
So for Dottie, it's like, hi, sweet girl, little lady. Oh, look at the pretty lady. And then Rocco is Rocker, big boy. Who's your big boy? And then Teddy I call Ted Head. And it's always like, Ted Head, what are you doing? That kind of voice. And then Ren is, oh, Rennie, my little baby boy.
I can imagine. Ren's got that cute face. They all do.
Yeah.
Of all the names, it sounds like you've given new names to some of the dogs, but do any of the names have any significance?
Gizmo, because I was obsessed with Gremlins growing up, was my favorite movie.
Okay, I should have known.
Yeah. Louie was purely just like we just kept trying to call him different names and he wouldn't respond to anything. And it was the second that we said Louie, he immediately like perked up and would run to us all the time. So I was like, okay, I guess his name is Louie. And then Rocco was because of Rocco's Modern Life, which was a favorite cartoon of mine growing up.
I don't know that.
Oh, it's really good. It was a Nickelodeon
Okay.
cartoon. It was great. Um, and Dottie because of Pee Wee Herman. So obviously, film nerd. Ren from Ren and Stimpy, another favorite cartoon of mine.
Yeah.
Teddy was just one of those things where I wanted so bad to name him Chucky, like from because I love horror movies. He wouldn't respond to it, like just never would respond. And then Teddy was the only name that he responded to it as well, kind of like the same thing with Louis. So I was like, okay, I guess you chose your own name. So
That's funny. That's funny. It's funny you didn't like Chuck. I mean, Chucky is like, I don't want that reputation of being some psycho,
he is a psychopath. The thing that's hilarious though is my friend Colum, he suggests, I wish I had named him this, suggested the name Kramer for Teddy, and it's so
That's so
perfect
funny.
because Teddy does like enter a room like all crazy, like Seinfeld, like you know, the character Kramer in
Yep.
Seinfeld, and has the hair like
Yeah.
Kramer. I think it's so funny, but yeah,
It's funny.
he's Teddy.
Out of all the names, I'm surprised Kramer's not a more popular dog name now that you mention it.
I know, it's a
Because
good one.
it does seem like a lot of, he did have very comedic canine kind of movements and
Yeah,
mannerisms.
for sure.
Too funny. Okay, question five. I always ask the artist if there's a dog organization or service you'd like to shout out.
Yeah, I would love to shout out Mutt Scouts and Forgotten Dog Foundation and Wagon Walks, who were, I mean, amazing. But the hard part is like, I want to give a shout out for them because I think what they've accomplished is so incredible that they are so known, and I feel like they do get such amazing funding.
Hmm.
And then there's like ones like Forgotten Dog Foundation that just breaks my heart because I always every birthday I put money towards them. Like I asked that for my birthday gift because, some of these just don't get as much
Yeah,
FaceTime and shout outs and stuff. So yeah.
perfect. Well, we'll put up their information and how everyone can reach them in the show notes.
Absolutely.
Well, Victoria, it's been great getting to know you and all your dogs. I just want to say thanks for giving me your time. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, me too. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Carl, you're a damn good dog.